When I was about 18 years old, wanted to start living my life in a way that said thank you to the God that made me.
He was the golden boy of 80s TV. But not everything behind the scenes was as squeaky clean as Mike Seaver's smile. For years, rumors swirled around Growing Pains, the supposed feuds, sudden cast exits, and one actor's evolving beliefs that shook the show from within. Now at 54, Kirk Cameron has finally addressed the speculation, and it's turning heads. If you've ever wondered what really happened to the cast of Growing Pains, or why some cast members didn't return, stay with us. Because Cameron's latest comments pull the curtain back, once and for all. The rise of a teen idol. When Growing Pains first aired in 1985, it was marketed as an ensemble sitcom, a wholesome family comedy centered around the Seavers, an upper-middle-class family juggling work, parenting, and teen drama. But just a few episodes in, it became clear that one character was striking a chord with audiences far beyond expectations. Mike Seaver, the mischievous, charming eldest son, played by a then-unknown Kirk Cameron. As Cameron later recalled, "When I got the part on Growing Pains, it was actually a miracle that I got the part because I was 14 years old and we were late for the audition. I drove an hour and a half in traffic. You're gonna run in there and you're gonna pound on the door and beg them to audition." Cameron's quick wit, boyish looks, and natural charisma catapulted him into teen idol status almost overnight. Fan mail flooded ABC's offices by the thousands. Magazine covers featuring his face flew off shelves. Girls screamed at mall appearances, and the network took notice. By season 2, producers started tailoring scripts to give Mike more screen time, more punchlines, and more storylines centered around his character's antics. This sudden shift came with its own cost. Several insiders later admitted that the series subtly morphed from a family sitcom into a star vehicle. Plots that once revolved around the full Seaver family began to orbit around Mike. Writers and directors adjusted arcs to match what the audience demanded, more Kirk. Even the show's promotional campaigns began to focus heavily on his image. But the real shift didn't happen on camera. It happened within Cameron himself. Faith, friction, and creative clashes. By the time Kirk Cameron was 17, he had everything a young actor could dream of: money, fame, critical acclaim, and millions of fans. But what many didn't see was the internal shift happening beneath the surface. Around the 4th season of Growing Pains, Cameron experienced a profound religious conversion, becoming a born-again Christian. "What ruined my atheism was a pretty girl," Cameron once admitted. "She was so cute, I wanted to go out on a date with her. And where did I show up? At a church. I'm an actor, so I could fake my way through a 1-hour church service." That moment would reshape not only his personal life, but also the direction of the show. As his faith deepened, Cameron became increasingly uncomfortable with certain themes and jokes in the script. "It made me start asking questions, and I eventually came to the conclusion that there's a lot that I don't know, a lot that I don't understand," he explained.
You know, I think eventually, if people are thoughtful, you start asking grown-up questions like, how did the world get started? Where did we come from? Where are we going? Why are we here?
He began requesting changes, asking writers to tone down sexually suggestive content or avoid scenes he believed conflicted with his values. While his intentions may have been sincere, his sudden moral stance created ripples on set. Writers and producers were frustrated. Scripts were being altered late into production, and some storylines had to be scrapped entirely. Fellow cast members were caught in the middle, trying to support their co-star while also feeling the weight of disrupted creative flow. But this wasn't just about values. The deeper issue was that Kirk Cameron had changed, and Growing Pains was struggling to keep up.
With the privilege of a platform comes great responsibility. And so we got to be careful with what we say, with how we say it, and everything should be seasoned with grace. And while I certainly don't do that perfectly, I strive to do it increasingly.
As the series progressed, what happened off-screen began to mirror the chaos on it. Cast bonds and breakdowns. From the outside, Growing Pains looked like the perfect family, both on-screen and off. But by the show's later seasons, the tight-knit chemistry that fans adored was beginning to fray. Behind the laughs and lighthearted plots were quiet tensions, emotional distance, and friendships slowly falling apart. Tracy Gold, who played the book-smart sister Carol, later opened up about the shift. She recalled feeling isolated and even judged by Cameron during the later years. According to Gold, the once friendly dynamic had turned formal, almost strained. Other cast members shared similar sentiments, noting that Cameron became more private, spending time away from group activities or post-filming hangouts. One of the clearest signs of the divide came after the show ended. Several key cast members lost touch with Cameron entirely. When Gold got married in 1994, she admitted that Cameron didn't attend and didn't send a message either. This silence spoke volumes about how far the once close group had drifted apart. If I could go back, I think I could make decisions that were less inadvertently hurtful to the cast, like talking and explaining to them why I just wanted to have my family at my wedding, Cameron reflected. By the time the cast reunited for the Growing Pains movie in 2000 and a sequel in 2004, the atmosphere was reportedly cordial but distant. Some wounds had never fully healed. The chemistry was still there, but the warmth was harder to fake. The breakdown of those personal relationships didn't just reflect changing values, it mirrored something else, a show struggling to find its place in a changing TV landscape. And just as friendships were cooling, the network was beginning to panic. Struggles to stay on air. By the early 1990s, Growing Pains had already made its mark as one of ABC's flagship family sitcoms. But behind the scenes, the network was growing restless. Ratings were slipping, audiences were tuning into newer, edgier shows, and critics began calling Growing Pains outdated. The once beloved series now faced a question that haunted many long-running sitcoms. How do you stay relevant without losing your identity? Producers scrambled for answers. New characters were brought in to inject fresh energy. Most notably, a young Leonardo DiCaprio joined the cast in Season 7, playing Luke, a troubled teen taken in by the Seavers. As one cast member put it, even the charismatic DiCaprio couldn't save the floundering show. The hope was that DiCaprio's youthful edge and acting chops could reignite viewer interest. While his performance was praised, it wasn't enough to reverse the show's decline. Ashley Johnson, who played Chrissy Seaver, recalled, "I just remember everyone was like, 'This kid's so good. He was so sweet to me.'" Other storylines also felt increasingly forced. Episodes swung between serious, very special topics and lighthearted hijinks, creating tonal whiplash. The show that once balanced heart and humor began to feel like it was trying too hard. Longtime fans noticed, and ratings continued to fall. Even Kirk Cameron admitted in later interviews that Growing Pains had begun to lose focus. He described the final seasons as less grounded, and said the cast and crew were often unsure of where the show was headed. In fact, one longtime friend and industry peer recalled that much of the controversy surrounding Cameron over the years had been distorted or taken out of context. They described him as someone who literally loves everybody, but admitted that when he first found his faith, he went overboard, cutting people out of his life who didn't share his beliefs.
The first chance he got, he took us all aside and he apologized for his behavior back then. He said, I apologize. It took me a long time to realize what my faith was really about and what it meant to believe what I believe and who I should be. And I wasn't loving, I wasn't caring, I wasn't anything I was supposed to be being to you guys, and I'm sorry.
So how does Kirk Cameron feel about it all now? Decades later, he's finally speaking with clarity and conviction. Kirk's reflection and recent statements. Now at 54, Kirk Cameron is no longer the teen idol America swooned over in the late 80s. He's a father of 6, a longtime faith-based filmmaker, and a figure who remains both admired and criticized for the way he navigated his fame. But in recent years, Cameron has begun to openly reflect on his time on Growing Pains, and the comments he's made have added new layers to the rumors that followed him for decades. In a 2023 podcast interview, Cameron addressed the long-held perception that he became difficult to work with. "I was a kid trying to make sense of a lot of things," he said. "I had a real change of heart about the kind of person I wanted to be. I didn't always communicate that well, and I've learned from that." He also confirmed some of the behind-the-scenes friction, acknowledging that his spiritual convictions did influence how he approached scripts and relationships.
It is my great privilege to love and cherish exclusively my beautiful wife, and that seems like an anomaly to some people. Like, really, it's my privilege. It's my honor to be married, and I want to honor my wife.
Regarding his former castmates, Cameron has expressed that he holds no resentment toward them. He has spoken warmly of Tracy Gold and Alan Thicke, noting their professionalism and talent, and reflecting on the special bond the cast once shared despite their occasional differences. So, what do you think? Was Kirk Cameron unfairly judged for standing by his values, or did his actions hurt what could have been a longer-lasting show? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and don't forget to watch the next video on screen. You won't want to miss it.